Greetings, fellow railway travelers. We await arrival of train number 249, one of a number of trains associated with what I term a southern border railway, connecting a string of towns plotted by myself along the map's south edge. Train 249 services 3 border towns, this being eastmost of the 3. As before, we wait for the flip, hop into the engine cab, and away we go. The lake to our north is game generated. 2 narrow waterways bordering the town to east and west were dug by me as part of an ongoing scenic improvement project. Our train is headed by a Prussian T3, something of a rarity on these border routes, which normally make do with older Baldwins and occasionally Porters due to their low operating costs. We approach another large game-generated lake, which I again extended south to justify constructing a bridge, as well as give the town ahead its name. Ahead we see the smoke of a Porter-Pool small boxcar train carrying goods from a factory not far north. I'll not elaborate on that route as I plan to make an excursion video on it in the near future. Suffice to say that a porter is more than powerful enough to pull so light a load. This town station being served by a single track, we must of course remain here until the boxcar train clears the block signal to our immediate right on its return journey to the factory. Speaking of boxes, box receiving shops are about the only wall non-station extension, non-industrial complex structure we players are allowed to place where we will. I wish that courtesy had extended to post offices, which it seems to me every town should have, but not all get. I also hope that at some point we are offered air-themed, placeable structure packs, both cosmetic and functional. That said, I see at least one potential flaw associated with placeable cosmetic structures, in that if placed within the radius of a passenger station, they deprive that station of a token-earning home. We enter Lakeview Village, second of today's 3 stops. Like Paradise, Lakeview was established some time ago and is fully spawned. It will get no bigger than it is now, barring the unforeseen. Passenger service is, so far as I know, Mashinky's primary means of earning green tokens used to pay for a wide variety of things in the game. It pays to connect every town available and, for those towns that grow big enough, multiple stations are beneficial. As can be seen at lower left, I do not lack for green tokens. In fact, I have so many the screen cuts off their total. Unlike in the real world, in Mashinky I'm quite financially well off. Last time I checked, the game showed me possessing 8.99112E plus 006 greens, whatever that means. I suspect I'm a Mashinky millionaire several times over, but what do I know? Unlike the Northern Tundra Railway we briefly glimpsed in my previous Mashinky video, this Southern Border Railway is complete from east to west, its towns for the most part fully developed. Beginning in the map's southeast corner there's Medville, where the Southern Border Railway and Far East Rails meet, Hidden Virtue, a tiny hamlet situated in a secluded mountain valley, Paradise on the Water and Lakewood Village, which we've already seen, Nowater Township, today's furthest west stop, and lastly, Decrepit, where our tracks cross paths with those belonging to the West Side Transit Company. In these episodes, I constantly refer to north, east, south, and west. Mashinky itself does not use these direction indicators. Early on, I found I had a definite preference for aligning one particular map edge so that it was almost always the screen top. I soon began to think of this edge as the map's northern border, with other edge sites perforce falling into their proper cartographic relationships. After doing so consistently session after session, I'm apt to become hopelessly lost should I position the map so that another edge lines the screen top. Well, maybe that's a bit overstated, but I definitely struggle finding my bearings. I remind you that the map's southern edge is but a stone's throw away to our left, as it has been from the first. Border route main lines rarely stray far from map edge, as doing so sort of defeats their purpose. This terminal with extension heralds our approach to the third and furthest west stop of our run, Nowater Township. The town should pop into view any time now. Tracks continue on one stop further west, but that run's handled by another passenger train. Mashinky's landscape changes to reflect the season. An appreciated touch, though certainly not uncommon in this day and age. Nowater derives its name from the simple fact that, of all my southern border railway towns, it's the only one near which I didn't place a body of water, be it river, stream, or pond. Well, there's also Hidden Valley Hamlet, but that tiny whistle stop has its own form of scenic allure. On the subject of trains in general, I'm just old enough to have witnessed the final days of steam in the U.S. Alas, the cotton belt tracks that ran through my small hometown were amongst the first to totally mothball their steam locomotives. I never saw one. It was not until 1973, in the military, visiting a small town in Thailand, that I saw my first live steam in action. You occasionally see me close an ever-growing number of small rectangles that screen right. Those messages inform me of perceived trouble somewhere on the map, ranging from crashes, trains paused too long in one spot, and resource imbalances at various industrial complexes. Crashes and paused trains should be handled ASAP. Imbalances can wait, as they indicate nothing more than inefficiency somewhere in the delivery chain. That said, inefficiencies shouldn't be ignored overlong unless they rob you of needed tokens. The bulk of my warning messages are due to resource imbalances in foundries. Foundries rely on a certain ratio of coal and iron ore to produce iron bricks, which are then shipped to tool works to earn iron tokens. What all too often happens is that, despite configuring trains so that they provide a foundry with the exact ratio it needs, sooner or later one resource or the other ends up filling a foundry storage capacity. This does no real harm so long as the foundry receives a steady flow of the lesser resource, but it is inefficient. I've corrected many of these imbalances in the past, yet all too soon they reappear. It doesn't take much. An imbalance of only 1 or 2 units of a particular resource every so many delivery cycles will all too soon fill a storage bin to capacity, at which point corrective measures must be taken. Or not. I still attempt it on occasion, but it's not always worth the effort so long as silver tokens keep pouring in. I suppose I should stress that my observances are only that and shouldn't be taken as gospel. The small watering hole to our left is part of my scenic improvement project. I've not mentioned the project since early on because, other than at Paradise in Lakeview, I left landscape pretty much as I found it. The watering hole, a pond, the tunnel, that's about the extent of it along this route. Smoke belches from atop our little boxcar train dead ahead. heralding our return to Lakeview Village. I'd rather we encountered the passenger shuttle which visits this station, but luck isn't with us this run so far as train spotting goes. The signal should flag us clear for entry any moment now. To the best of my recollection, all border town train station complexes, save Hidden Virtue, sport the two passenger and freight extensions. I believe they all contain box receiving shops, whether or not the town in question is destined to receive boxes. Box shops come in handy as they can be clicked on to see progress towards spawn, even before the first house appears. The downside to box receiving shops is that, once in place, they can't be bulldozed. Make sure you're totally committed to a town creation project, and all it's where it needs to be, before plopping one down. On this, the last leg of our journey, we catch a better glimpse of the lake that gives Lakewood its name and the waterway that feeds it as it flows off map at Rhine. Paradise on the Water, where our rail journey began and ends, soon comes into view as we pass through the small stretch of woodland ahead. Tracks continue onward to Hidden Virtue and on to Melville. But as with the line's final western designation, those two eastern towns are serviced by another passenger train. As we pull into Paradise Station to load and offload not yet visualized passengers, crew and management hope you found your accommodation satisfactory and thank you for choosing Southern Border Railway. Train 249 blurs into the distance with me wishing you well and hoping to see you aboard future Decrepit railway excursions. Later all.